It's okay. Just tell me when to start. That's, yeah.
I can do that.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you for being here. We will start with Hine Matov. Hine matov u'manahim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manahim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, ya la la, ya la 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 la. Hine matov, ya la la, ya la 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 la. Hine matov u'manahim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manahim, shevet achim gam yachad. And we'll continue with Shir Chadash at the bottom of page 1. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. We'll sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along. The earth, a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. May I have a volunteer to light the Shabbat candles? Thank you. Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. So as you may know, the parsha for this week is Vayechi, which is the last parsha in the book of Genesis, and it's the parsha where Jacob blesses all of his sons before he dies. So I understand that you have a custom of sharing blessings that have happened to you during the week. And since this service is called Shabbat of Blessings, on the Shabbat that we read Vayechi, which is where blessings are given out, it seems very appropriate to mention blessings that have happened this week. So let's go around. If anyone wants to share, does anyone want to share something fun, interesting, a blessing that you had this week? Yes.
I got to visit with a friend today.
You visited with a friend today? Yes. All right. It's pretty awesome. Anyone else? Yes.
I've been sharing Shabbat and some other times with my dear friend Edie Block, who is feeling very well right now.
Okay. That is wonderful and a mitzvah. Anyone else? Yes.
I have my daughter here with me, which is a blessing, I guess, a little bit in disguise. She was supposed to be going to Israel for the birthright trip, but I got canceled.
Oh, wow. A mixed blessing, yes. Anyone else? Any other blessings? Well, I can say that it was a blessing to have been asked by Rabbi Yehuva to lead services tonight, so I'm glad that I can be here. And let's go ahead and continue with Shachianu at the bottom of page 2. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu vekimanu vehigianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu vekimanu vehigianu lazman hazeh. Amen. And we'll continue at the top of page 4 before we go back to page 3 for Lecha Dodi. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days, lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. And we'll continue with Lecha Dodi on page 3. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, השם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Please rise. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת מעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. And we remain standing as we continue with Baruch Hu at the bottom of page 4. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. And you may be seated as we continue in the middle of page 5 with Roll into Dark. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla, golelon mipnei choshech, golelon mipnei choshech, V'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. And we continue on page 6 with the Shema, and we rise. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Vahed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Vahed. Ma Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta baham b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem ekol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hoseiti echem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihyot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem. And you may be seated as we continue with Micha Mocha on page 7. Yai lai lai la lai la lai la lai 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 Yai la lai la lai yai lai 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 Chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi chamocha netar ba'kodesh Nora tehilot osefele Nora tehilot osefele מלכותך ראובנך בוקר ים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. And we'll continue with Vishamru on page 8. Please rise. Shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a broken will. And we continue with the Amidah at the bottom of page 8 with Adonai's Sifatai Tiftach. Adonai Sifatai Tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, set my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'koneh Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imachot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol, Atah Rab Lehoshia, Mechaker Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofech Olim, Umatir Hasidim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishanei Afar. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. And we continue with some quiet time for personal reflection. And we'll continue with Shalom Rav in the middle of page 10. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Yatahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Yatahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov benecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. And we come to the Misha Berach. This week we are praying for Beth Levine, Rabbi Jerry Levy, Elaine Margoni, Jean Sanders, Rachel Woolman, Ron Book, Barbara Sequeira, Courtney Reynolds, Inga Horowitz, Paul Biegbetter, Chris Dofer, Robert Golden, Steve Rogers, Jean Barlow, Jean Law, Billy and Nancy May, Jim McGehee, Ed and Helen Perry, Elise Evans, Roberta McKnight, Katrina Gravely, Maria Rosa, Maddie Batchelor, Karen Grossman Molton, Ashley Foster, Art Todress, Pam Becker, Nathan Aaron Strauss, Michael Guerra, Sue Sardi, Clayton Herring, Matthew Sachs, Sam Sachs, Maeve Rose Roberts, Maroon Nisa, Joel Prohofsky, Robert Stampler, Barry and Vicky Helmstetler, Nathan Aaron Strauss, Jennifer Cave, Robert Golden, Jeff West, Michael Rosen, Richard Nicholson, Donna Sequeira, David Paul, Nicole Lilly, Nancy Strauss, Larry Painter, Rosemarie Fove, Maya Iyengar, John Dooley, Doris Morgan, Ron Morris, Stephen Young, Richard Schacher, Camden Moish Shate, Frosty Owen, Walter Schneider, Shirley Weissman, Margie Cohen, Beth Shalom Life Care Community, Danielle Culla, Chris Powell, William Goheen, Michael Stuck, Eunice Knowles, Gail and Wayne Hall, Amy Heber, Angela Lanny, Maxime Seidenkrantz, and Robert Signer. And please forgive me if I mispronounced any names. Is there anyone here would like to add? Yes?
Jim Martin and Scott Bailey. Steve Bortles.
All right. We'll continue with the Misha Berach. Is it on here? Page 13, I apologize. Yes, Misha Berach on page 13. Misha Berach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. So once again, Shabbat Shalom. And as I mentioned, this week's Parsha is Vayechi, which is the last Parsha in the book of Genesis. And there's a tradition that we do when we chant the last Parsha in the last book of, in the last of each of the books of the Torah. Do you guys know what it is? After the Torah reader is done, Chazak, Chazak, Veni Chazek. We chant it, Chazak, Chazak, Veni Chazek, which means strong, strong, may you be strengthened, right? May the continued reading of the Torah strengthen you. And that tune that we use is the same tune that is used when we chant the very beginning of the book of Genesis. We chant when we chant the creation of the world, after it lists everything that God created on the day, it says, Vayhi erev, Vayhi boker, Yom echad, Yom sheni, etc., etc. And when the Torah reader gets to that part, they chant it in this same tune. Vayhi erev, Vayhi boker, Yom echad, Yom sheni, etc., etc. So that particular tune is sort of a tune of passages. So that is, I think, a beautiful tradition that we have for the end of the reading of a book of the Torah. So with apologies, I will let you know that I am going to share with you this evening a Devar Torah from Rabbi Brad Artson, a beautiful Devar Torah on Parshat Vayechi. Because of the last minute nature of this, Rabbi Yehuda gave me permission to share a Devar Torah from someone else. So I hope that is okay and that you will enjoy this one. This is from Rabbi Brad Artson, who is actually the dean of the Ziegler Rabbinic School in Los Angeles. And I don't know why this microphone keeps drooping. All right. Okay. All right, so the title of this Devar Torah for Parshat Vayechi is looking at the larger picture. Remember the midrash of the blind people and the elephant? Each one touched a different part of the animal and then described the elephant based on his own particular perceptions. One compared the elephant to a long, powerful tube. A second portrayed the elephant as an enormous barrel. A third, feeling the elephant's ears, depicted it as resembling large drapes. Everyone described what they knew and thus accurately characterized part of the elephant, but were incapable of representing the animal as a whole. That same discrepancy between individual perception and objective reality occurs every day. We each view the world through our own eyes, listen to its sounds through our own ears, and analyze what we see and hear through our own blend of personality, culture, and training. The world we live in, a filtering, a filtering of external fact through subjective perception and collective history is literally one of our own making. We often do not recognize the larger impact of events because we are chained to our own particularity. We plan our behavior from our own perspectives, and we analyze its consequences from our own viewpoints. The result is that we often fail to perceive the harmony and unity that link everything that exists to everything else and provide coherence by pointing to the source of all existence. That same inability to see the larger picture is exemplified by the fears of Joseph's brothers. Recall that the entire family, the patriarch Jacob and the 11 remaining sons, moved to Egypt on Joseph's recommendation. They settled in Goshen and busied themselves with herding sheep. Throughout this time, the courtier Joseph treated his family with great honor and love. But with the death of Jacob, Joseph's brothers became terrified that there are no longer any restraints on their powerful sibling. Perhaps, they reasoned, Joseph was kind to us and protected us for our father's sake, out of respect for his feelings. Now that our father no longer lives, our brother will seek revenge on us for all the evil we did to him. From the perspective of the brothers, what they did to Joseph was unforgivable. After all, they discussed killing him and only later decided to sell him into slavery. All of Joseph's suffering as a slave in Potiphar's house and in the Egyptian prison was the fault of his brothers in Canaan. From their perspective and from his, Joseph had every right to be furious with them. Yet Joseph's position as a religious role model emerges from his response to their fear. Rather than restricting his perspective to his own subjective position, Joseph struggles to understand what happened from God's vantage point. So he says, "Have no fear. Am I a substitute for God? Besides, although you intended me harm, God intended it for good, so as to bring about the present result, the survival of many people. And so fear not, I will sustain you and your children." According to Rashi, Joseph is struck by the fact that although his father may no longer be living, the God of Israel still lives and still commands moral behavior. The standards of Israel's God, embodied in the Torah and in later rabbinic sources, retain a commanding voice because Israel's commander still speaks. From the human perspective, Joseph's brothers sold their sibling into slavery. From the divine perspective, they initiated a process that would assure the survival of countless human beings many years later. We cannot know the consequences of our deeds. Like Joseph's brothers, we must be responsible for our own actions from our own perspective. But like Joseph himself, we also need to look to a higher, more encompassing vision of what life can be. Joseph's response is a vivid reminder that we do not assign ultimate meaning, God does. May your perspective, too, reflect God's vision of a world redeemed. Shabbat Shalom. And we will continue with Aleinu at the bottom of page 14. And I apologize. Do you normally open the ark for this, or no? No? Okay. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol l'tekidu l'yotzer breshit shelo asanu kagoye haratzot velo samanu kemishpachot adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahen v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'hodim lifnei malach malchei hamalachim hakadosh baruch hu ve'emor v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz hayom hahu hayom hahu yeh Adonai echad Shema echad. This week we are remembering the yahrzeits of Bill Burns, grandfather of Zipporah Jaffe, Rebecca Davenport, aunt of Eileen May, Maury Friedman, father of Ron Friedman, Lois Preble Gross, sister-in-law of Sheila Preble, Robert Haken, father of Jeff Haken, John Jennings, father of Russ Jennings, Leah Kodakova, aunt of Zena Tolchinsky, Belle McCoy, grandmother of Lori Coulter, Edward Moses, brother of Joel Moses, Mildred Plotkin, aunt of David Goldsmith, Sylvia Rothstein, mother of Marcy Horwitz, Dorothy Schulman, aunt of David Goldsmith, Rose Siegel Siminoff, mother of Jerry Siminoff, and Theodore Woodman, father of Sheila Preble. Does anyone have any names they would like to add to the Kaddish list? All right. We continue with the recitation of Mourner's Kaddish on page 15. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirte ve'amlich malchute, be'chayechon u'vyomechon u'vchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, bagala u'vizman kariv ve'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach, le'elam u'amei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei kudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min Shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. And we'll conclude our service this evening with Oseh Shalom on page 16. And you may be seated if you wish. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. And I would like to call up Beth for some announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. As most of you know, our dear rabbi is going to be on vacation for the next 2 weeks, so our upcoming events have changed quite a bit. We will be having Torah study tomorrow at 11 o'clock as usual. It is in person and virtual as well. It's not? Oh, thank you. Sorry. Okay, so Torah study is just virtual tomorrow. All right, thank you very much. Now, I'm showing here that we will not have religious school. We're on winter break, so that will be Sunday, December the 19th, December the 26th, and January 2nd. We will not have religious school on those Sunday dates. The next 2 Shabbat services, that would be December the 24th and December the 31st. Those will be virtual only. We'll have no in-person services on those dates. As far as Torah study, going back to Torah study, we will not have Torah study on December the 21st nor January the 1st, and we will begin again on January the 8th. Is that right? And that's all I have for this evening. Thank you, everybody.
All right, that concludes our service for this evening. Shabbat Shalom, and please join us for Kiddush in the back? Okay. Thank you. Huh?
Rabbi left you the trick microphone stand.
Oh, really? Is this microphone stand notorious for being a little?
No, I think it's probably the microphone is really heavy on one end. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
But it doesn't look like it fits that well. If you look from this angle, you can see all this air.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see what you mean. Marion.
Marion.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You are Laura. 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 I actually
came up with the same sort of